B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh V'Natziach. We missed all of you. A big shout out to my dear high school friend for encouraging me to make this shiur, Mr. Avi Weiss. We wanted to talk about our matriarch, Sarah EMANU, the wife of Abraham, because Sarah passes away in this week. And Sarah is a very important player in this week's Parsha. She kicks out Ishmael from Avram's house, banishes him. Not only that, but she becomes captive, she's taken hostage by Avimelech. And unfortunately, in the end of the Parsha, she passes away when she sees her son is about to be sacrificed, and her neshama leaves her body. And in next week's Parsha, Abraham Avinu eulogizes her. So we have to understand, this year is a Kabbalistic understanding of who Sarah is a reincarnation of, Gilgul of, and what was her Tikkun, rectification, mission in this world, which also happens to be the mission of the later Imaot, matriarchs, Rivka and Rachel and Leah. So the Ramami panel says in his Sefer Gilgul Neshamot, letter Pei, that Chava, Adam and Eve, Adam had a wife named Chava, and she brought death and destruction to the world when she ate from the forbidden fruit, and she corrupted her husband also. So Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah, they are all the reincarnation of the soul of Chava to bring tikkun, rectification, amend, fix, improve, remedy, straighten out, and clean up the mess that Chava had made. Now, what was the three ways that she destroyed, damaged, and disturbed the world? Chava, the wife of Adam. Chachamim say in Shabbat 32 Bavli that Chava kilalato, she corrupted the cream of the crop, the challah of the world. Man was so godly that the angels by mistake would say Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. They mistaken him for God. Like King David says in Tehillim, David HaMelech says, V'tachsereu ma'at me'elokim. So first of all, she corrupted the most perfect human being that God himself had created with his own hands. Secondly, she turned off the light of the world, because she caused us to get kicked out of the Garden of Eden. And thirdly, she brought death to man. David HaMelech says clearly in Tehillim, Ani amarti Elohim atem uvnei elyon kulchem. We know that death was not part of the plan of the world. Just like God is eternal, man, which is in God's image, was supposed to live forever and ever, eternity. Like our soul is eternal. Even the body was supposed to be eternal. But when man became corrupted, so that's the three ways that she damaged, destroyed, and spoiled the world, Chava. That's why, Kabbalistically, women have these three mitzvahs that are specific that women have to do, and have to be very meticulous about, to separate challah, to light the nairs of Shabbat, and to keep the laws of family purity, nidah, which there can be no continuity to Judaism in a Jewish family if we're not keeping the laws of nidah is as important as keeping Shabbat and kosher. Now we know that our matriarchs, Sarah was a greater prophet than Abraham. That Chazal already say. So we know that the prophets kept the Torah. Why? Because when you get to such a high ecstasy level of talking to God, you see that God, even though the Torah was only given through Moshe, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, they all used to keep the Torah even before it was given. Now, we know that Sarah was the Shekhinah, the Holy Spirit, the divine presence was with Sarah. The manifestation of God's presence in the world, the Shekhinah was always in Sarah's tent. Why? Because we know that when Yitzchak was heartbroken when his mother passed away, when he brought Rebecca into the house, he said, "Oh, this house is now like this house of my mother was her entire life, her 127 years. Because all the days that Sarah was alive, her bread never spoiled. The light of Shabbat that she lit on Friday night went from, like the Bet HaMikdash, didn't go off, went from miraculously, was lit for 7 days till she had to turn it off and light it again in honor of Shabbat. And also, when Rivka came into the house of Yitzchak, Isaac, he saw miraculously that these tremendous miraculous blessing in the challah and the lights of Shabbat were brought back. Why did Sarah do these mitzvahs? Because she had disturbed man, which was challah is the most precious part of the bread. She had destroyed the bread of the world, the creme de la creme of the world. So that's why she had to do the mitzvah of challah. And her challah was so blessed, she did it in such a purity state that it stayed blessed for the entire week. And also, she had turned off the light of the world. Because in the Garden of Eden, there is no darkness and death. She caused us to get kicked out. That's why women have to turn on the Shabbat lights. And that's why specifically Sarah was the first person to start keeping this mitzvah to a tikkun, to rectify, amend, fix, improve, remedy, straighten out, and clean up the mess she had made in her previous reincarnation as Eve, as Chava. Now, the Al-Shech HaKadosh says specifically that since she was such a holy and big prophet, the founder of the mothers of Israel, Sarah, that's why we said that miraculously her Shabbat candles were like the candles of the Holy Temple. They never went out. Her bread never spoiled. And also there was the cloud of the Shekhinah on the door of her house, which was in the zechut, was in the merit of the tikkun, the remedy she made, the rectification she made, that she kept the laws of Nidah. Now, what was the greatest curse to man? God said, with the sweat of your eyebrow, you need to work. No pain, no gain. But through the tremendous purity and service of God, of Sarah, for keeping these 3 outstanding mitzvot of the women, her boy, miraculously, this caused that Avram didn't used to need to work hard, because any bread that she baked never spoiled. And we see that she did the tikkun. She also rectified and improved and straightened out the mess that she made with sleeping. When unfortunately, when Sarah ate from the forbidden fruit, which was most probably a fig or a grape that intoxicated her, she also slept with the Satan, with the snake. But now, when the angels in this week's Parsha came to give her the good news, it says Sarah did not become a nida anymore. Chadal liyot leSarah orach kanashim. That shows that she didn't have to go through the pain of a woman's cycle, because she had rectified the mistake. The reason why she was punished, that women were punished to become with this nidah, the womanly cycle every month, is because she slept with the snake, the Satan. But Sarah, we see in the Torah, did not have that, did not become a nidah anymore, even though people used to live to hundreds of years, because rectified that mistake. The Shem Shmuel brings this down. And again, this is a very important concept. Why did Sarah have to be tested constantly to be taken by Paro and one of the kings of Canaan, Avimelech? Because it's very important in life. We should never question why God sent us tests. In our last reincarnation, we must have failed the test. Now we have an opportunity to rectify it and straighten it out. Since she had slept and did adultery against Adam, and she had slept with the snake, this time, 2 times she was with 2 powerful kings, but she did not let herself become violated and corrupted. And that's why she patched up and fixed the mistake that she had brought death into the world, and that's why she was punished with the woman's cycle on a monthly basis, but she had fixed that up. Now we get to one of the most awesome parts, the last part of Sarah's life according to Kabbalah. The question, the Sefer MISHNAT HAGILGULIM, this whole entire Dvar Torah, we're going to put a picture of the book on the icon for our podcast and for the YouTube. He asks a crazy question. He says, Sarah, we know the Midrash says, was happy that she had the zechut that her son would become to the highest level of sacrificing to God. So why did she pass away? She knew that ultimately Avram wouldn't kill Yitzchak. She was on a higher level than Avram. Who was a greater prophet, Avram or Sarah? So why did Sarah, when she saw the Satan, her neshama left her body and she passed away? The answer, according to Kabbalah, the Siftei Cohen brings, is because Sarah realized that in her last life, she was Chava, she was Eve, and she had slept with the Satan, and because of that, so much death and destruction had come back to the world. Like we said, she was worried that if this time she doesn't pass the test and she becomes close to him, God forbid, not only would she destroy the body of all women, but she would kind of destroy the whole foundation of holiness of women, the soul, which is eternal. It would be a mitat olam haba. That's why she freaked out and passed away. Because this is the second time she had an encounter with the Satan, and the previous time it was disastrous. But the great thing to realize is that not only this is a deep Kabbalistic idea, but Rivka, and also not only that, Yitzchak was also, even though he was a male body, he was a tikkun of Chava, and Rachel and Rivka and Leah were also, maybe in the next parshas we could talk about their tikkun. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful Shabbat.